So the second story today is a big Mould news week. So I found three stories and possibly a fourth that I can comment on. This is from the Sun, the Jockish Sun, so the Scottish Sun. This one. A Lanarkshire homeowner who has been plagued by nightmare damp and mould for 6 years has slammed her local council. Jacqueline Younger's flat in Colonsay, St Leonard's, in East Kilbride, has been affected by persistent leaking water. So there's a source of moisture straight away. So your surveying brain's on. So if there's water coming in, a source of moisture, because that water's got to evaporate. Another source of moisture, if you're thinking, so when if you're doing your detective work, other sources of moisture when you go into a flat, house, property, fish tanks. Some people have fish tanks that are like swimming pools. Well, they're up and at top, so you've got a big bank of water, and that water's just continually evaporating into atmosphere. We've got a little one there, so I'm not saying they're bad, but what I'm saying is just remember that water is continuously evaporating. And when I was looking at this photo, and I don't want to judge, I'm not judging, this is from Scotland, but another thing that came into my head for adding, they're going about drying your clothes on washing lines, another big causer, added humidity in air, because I've seen how many they got, is vaping. So vaping is basically moisture that they're sucking in and then blowing out. So it's water and they're blowing it out. And a lot of them that do vaping, they never off them. So they're continually puffing, and like when you see cars driving down the road and windows open and you just see like a big plume of smoke coming out, you just think there must be a dragon in there. You know what I mean? It's like snorting. So all these people that's got that vape, just think you're putting a lot of humidity into air. So if you've got black mould, and one of the causes could partly be down to you spitting all that moisture out. So this is Jacqueline. She's here, look. And this is Jacqueline's windows. So you'll notice something about these windows. And I'm going to read rest of it now and just let you know. So remember, you're doing your detective work. So this is going through your brain. So you saw windows straight away. So just remember what make-up at windows are. Large patches of black mould surround Jacqueline's windows, and her cavity wall is soaked through. Wormesis. She moved into the property in 2016 and has hit out at South Lanarkshire Council, which is the factor for failing to resolve the problem. So there's a dispute with council, and we know that these things have to go through all departments, and it just takes time. And it's just, this is what I was on about in last video. Whenever you're dealing with big corporations or big companies, councils, you're going to be trying to get through red tape. It's department after department after department. On to the next one. Oh, you've come through to the wrong department. It's soul destroying. Soul destroying. I think I've said this, but she moved into the property in 2016. This is out at Lanarkshire Council, failing to resolve the problem. 6 years on, Jacqueline is still plagued by the continuous issue, despite her windows being replaced last year. Poor rough casting. Now, I'm tipping rough casting is Scottish for pebble dashing, rendering outside. Poor rough casting was repaired by the local authority in 2017, and residents were charged £1,000 each. But the work didn't resolve water pouring into Jacqueline's second floor property. Speaking to Lanarkshire Live, Jacqueline said when there's severe wet weather, she has puddles of water in her flat. So this seems to be coming from above, from what we can what it sounds like is getting described. The water has resulted in damage to some of her possessions, and she has spent a fortune redecorating and using insulation foam in a bid to stem the leaking. So we saw that window had expanding foam around it, and also you could see DPM on inside. So I don't know. Well, I'll read on a bit later, and I'll because I think it comes to it here. An inspection was carried out on the property in 2020, which concluded that the roof, which is around 50 years old, needs replacing. 50-year-old's it's not that old. With the roof and tiles being beyond economic repair. Jacqueline said, every time there is rain and bad weather, I have puddles of water in my flat. It's been a total nightmare. I spent a fortune trying to patch things up and on decorations, but I've given up now. I've even replaced and moved the windows for a second time. At no small cost, as the council was insistent that what was to blame, it has not made one bit of difference. When she says she's moved windows, she says I've replaced and moved the windows. When she said moved windows, I'm thinking she's moved it from one. She's had one blocked up and had another moved, but I think it's just in translation. This I think she's had windows took out and new ones put in. It seems, could be wrong. Being pushed from pillar to post. The issue is the roof. I instructed 2 independent surveyors in 2020 who also concluded the windows weren't to blame. I have been pushed from pillar to post and the council just isn't taking this matter seriously enough at all. She added, now the council is wanting a total of £30,000, 30k for block refurbishments, including work to the roof. It's ridiculous, she said in kind of a Yorkshire accent. Councillor Jim Warder-Haw is supporting Jacqueline in her battle to have her problem solved. There he is. Damp and mouldy flat left me with horrendous skin condition. Now I can't grow my hair. This is another one. I'm going to click on this later because I'm going to have a look at this. I'm laughing at the title, not at the woman. Although I've got to read it yet, but anyway. This is councillor, the councillor. He told Lanarkshire Live, I really think that South Lanarkshire Council have been totally incompetent in this case and have treated my constituent extremely bad and continuing to do so. And we're going to have the Jimmy at the end of there, but probably not. And that was my Scottish accent. Since then, they have failed totally to rectify the leak in the roof. The position now is that the council want the residents to pay for a complete roof refurbishment. I'm turning it into an Indian. At an astronomical cost. A spokesman for South Lanarkshire Council told the Scottish Sun, there were no reports of water ingress by the previous owner, though from Yorkshire. The local authority also said chartered surveyor carried out an inspection to identify the installation of Mrs. Younger's, no, hang on a minute, an installation of Ms. Younger's windows as the reason for the water ingress. Single, she's on her own, isn't she? Ms. Younger. Yeah. The spokesman said, through surveys and inspections of the block that have been carried out, both the council and by independent chartered surveyors, the council as factor is fully aware of the issues affecting this block and Ms. Younger's home. These surveyors have identified the cause of water ingress to be Ms. Younger's home as being due to her windows, which were installed after she purchased the flat. So she owns the flat, the council is the management company, and she's had these windows replaced. And it don't look as if she's had window reveals plastered up. That's one of the things I've seen. So you're gonna get cold air blowing through cavity, and it's going to create a massive cold spot. That's first thing that I can see. As the windows were not common part of the fabric of the building, it is Miss Younger's responsibility as a private flat owner to address the issue. So this is a question I always, when you buy a flat, always read what's management company is responsible for, what you're responsible for. Read your lease. This has been explained to Ms. Younger and Councillor Ward Hall, and the independent reports have also been provided to both. So they've had a copy each. So this is a picture Mrs. Waterhoff's windows. So this is a window, this is black mould, this is black membrane, and this is window reveal that's not been plastered up yet. And it's like that all the way around. So we know what's going off. Cold air blowing through cavity, condensation forming. She gets puddles of water in her flat during wet weather. And she's here with Councillor Wardorf, yeah? Dirty old boy there. How dirty are you there? With a big towel, because obviously it must be puddling on this window, and then looks like it's going through underneath there. So just because he's a councillor don't mean to say that he knows about damp, does it? With Ms. Ms. Jacqueline. And that's it, end of story. End of story with them two kind of if living in happily ever after. Now I'm not suggesting what's happened between them. Single Ms. Jacqueline Warhol, around about the same age, with a nice blonde hair, and old grey wolf there, councillor. But so my thoughts on that is always read your lease. So this is window again. Look, I'll just show you it again, just because you remember. So we've got membrane here. She's put foam here to stop a draft coming through. She thinks she's stopping moisture coming through. I think she's kind of jumping on mould bandwagon. She's there's a lot of fuss being kicked up about mould, rightly so in some circumstances, but because she's a homeowner, it's her responsibility to sort that out. It's her responsibility to put adequate ventilation in. Management companies only responsible for fabric at building and things like that. So and if you do buy a flat as well, you are liable for added costs. So like they're putting a new roof on, 30k, they'll have to fork out for it. They've done repairs to render, pebble dashing, they've got to fork out for it, all flat owners. So just be aware of that. So that starts my other story. I hope you enjoyed that. Get ready for the next one. So this is a good story. So the title in the Scottish Sun, another one from Scotland. Nightmare, it says. Damp and mouldy flat left me with horrendous skin condition. Now I can't grow my hair. So straight away you're thinking, oh, you know what I mean? His hair stopped growing. Read on, eh? Shall we read on? A Scots tenant has told how nightmare mouldy homes have left him with horrendous skin conditions and unable to grow his hair. Shocking. Alexander Roy, 37, has been plagued by damp and black mould issues for the past 4 years. He's here, look. So this is Alex. Here we go. This is Alex there, which his hair that he can't grow. It looks like it's growing to me. What do y'all think? It says that underneath, Alexander Roy is rife with dampness and mould. He's flat, and to be fair, that's a bad outbreak. Don't look as if it's been cleaned or treated. We hope, but you know what I mean. It's a bad outbreak. He has been living with widespread black mould in his Kirk-in-Cloch flat for 4 years. I hope I've said that right. Any you north of the border. Alexander has been renting through Link Housing in Edinburgh and is currently living in one of the company's flats in St Columbia Drive in Kirk-in-Cloch. He moved into his one-bedroom flat in Kirk-in-Cloch in October 2018 and has started seeing mould appear around late November, which is in the condensation season. So it looks like when he's moved in October, they've decorated it, and then it started coming back in November, which is a familiar story. Fungus started out in his bedroom cupboards for growing in other rooms, including his living room, bathroom and kitchen. Alexander contacted Link Housing, but he said it took them 6 months to send someone out to inspect. So you've got your layers of bureaucracy, what you've got to go through and wade through before they'll send someone out. Despite repeated requests for the company to resolve the issues, Alexander said he's still being plagued by widespread mould and damp. The problems have been so bad it has caused his skin to flare up, and he has been attacked by mould mites, leading him to keeping his hair short. So Alexander can grow his hair, but he's decided to keep it short because he don't want to get any mould mites.